Midnight Sun here, and today we're going to be going over petrified screams. So, to get started, let's first look and see what a petrified scream looks like. We have it over here in the bottom of our inventory. These drop from greater rifts. They are a fairly rare drop, so I don't have too many of them. And they're used for augmenting your gear. You can see there that I've added some dexterity called Caldeson's Despair by putting the item we get from the petrified screams into the cube along with some gems to get that dexterity. So before we do a petrified scream, we want to make sure that we get the cheat death ability put on our follower just in case we accidentally die early, as well as making sure that we have some maximum damage and survivability with some of our items. So if you're running a speed build, go ahead and make sure that just some of those passives are changed, as well as we don't need all of that speed, so we're going to go ahead and do some damage with the strafe there with Rocket Storm. Now to get started, we're going to right click, make sure the petrified scream is in the cube, and then all we have to do from here is make sure we're on a level 70 game and hit transmute. After doing that, we get this fancy portal over here. Portal's going to open up, we click it, and as soon as we get in here, we're going to be making sure we go to the left, top, down, and right of the screen to find the extra little pylons we have in the corner here. Now we're not going to click on any of these things because if we activate them too early, they aren't going to be useful for the higher levels, which is where we struggle. You see that all of the enemies in here die fairly quickly. I do have my follower on me with some good emanating abilities as well to kind of help me stay alive here. As well as that boosted red ring on the ground, which gives me high critical hit damage. Now, if you notice that there's a lot of explosions on the ground, follow those explosions and kill those little orb things. Those things spawn in a bunch of guys, which fills the density on the right of the screen there where it says overwhelmed. So if you see my current tier, it's around 57, and my overwhelmed bar is constantly going up a little bit, and then it goes down as I kill the enemies. When that starts to reach about the halfway point for you, that's when you want to start going around and getting these pylons in the corner here. Now, I recommend starting with the speed pylon if you can, and then making your way over to the attack pylon and the cooldown reduction pylon, and saving the lightning pylon. So for most people, if you're running Greater Rift 90s, that should be around tier 100 in here. And if you're a higher build character who's maybe already got some augmented items, then you can hang around a little bit more to like 110, maybe 115 would be pushing it a little bit. But this method should be the best method to get the tier 125 atonement gems that we need from here for the cube, as well as augmenting higher items. So you notice that tier 100, we got those meteors falling from the sky, and we got to kind of cautious of those. Now at this point, I would say you could start getting those pylons if you're running a normal game. I'm still doing a little bit of damage, and I'm not worried about getting overwhelmed here, so I'm going to hold off just a little bit longer. And around 115, that's when I like to get it. So I go ahead and do the speed pylon, then I'm going to do the attack pylon, and then finally the cooldown reduction pylon. Now I'm going to check my damage and my overwhelmed bar. You can see that now it's rapidly decreasing. I'm hanging around about a quarter of the bar being filled. I'm making sure I'm dodging everybody over here. My cheat death hasn't procced yet, which is a good sign. And then as it starts to ramp up and I'm feeling like, okay, I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed again, then I'm going to activate the lightning pylon over here. This is going to carry the rest of my damage. And as long as I'm going to the edge where those explosion dudes are and killing those, I shouldn't get overwhelmed too quickly. At around tier 135, that is when a goblin shrine will pop up in here, and you can go and click on the goblin shrine and activate the goblins. Now the benefit for that is you get the goblins. The downside is that they're going to run around the map, they're going to fill up the density, it's going to make it so you're kind of focused on one little area there. But this is a great way to get a guaranteed goblin shrine, and you can see that we finished off there at tier 139. So that's good. That's over the 125 mark. If I didn't activate the goblin shrine, I could have probably pushed it to 146, maybe 147, which I ended up doing after this. Now we're going to get a little bit of blood shards as well as a few items. There's no boost to the items that you get here. It's just like your regular Greater Rift item. And there's our Whisper of Atonement. Now I'm going to go through and scrap the rest of these items that I got here because There's nothing that really improves my build or is needed for another one of my builds. Sometimes, again, you get really lucky here. Maybe get a primal or an ancient item. It's just like a Greater Rift, so don't get too excited for the loot that's, you know, in this area here. Now that we've got our Whisper of Atonement, we can go over to the cube. I made sure to already craft these Flawless Royal Emeralds, which are going to give me Dexterity, because the green gems give Dexterity. And then I'm going to find a suitable item to put it on. It has to be Ancient or Primal. Since I've already got a Primal item right there, might as well use it. I don't imagine I'm going to switch off of this. I'm going to put at least 3 of the Flawless Royal Gems and the Whisper in there, and then hit Transmute. And you can see that now I've got the Kaltason's Despair, plus Dexterity, and my damage has shot up pretty significantly. So that's everything to Petrified Screams. Hopefully this guide helped you out and made it a little bit easier for you guys to get those higher Greater Rift levels, or you just needed that cube recipe or the cube ingredient item for the Altar of Rites there. And if you stack all of your items with the Kaltason's Despair, it's going to boost this main stat for your class. So mine's Dexterity, and you can see if I pull up my character sheet and hover over the Dexterity thing, how much damage is actually being boosted by Dexterity. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one. Bye.